I wanted to be a champion because I was very frustrated as a lawyer in getting people to the point where they get a protection order and appear to be safe, and then a couple of months later finding out that they're back in the relationship and all of the hard work has been undone to a large extent. And with being part of a small community, you do notice the ripple effect throughout the children and throughout the community. So in part it was training for me to understand what else I could do other than legal processes to help these women stay out. And also I didn't have the resources to be able to assist men either, because I deal with both sides of the equation. So particularly for the men, just building up my level of understanding and empathy really, so that I could be more positive with them about their options going forward. I knew a lot about this, the cycles of violence, the effects of violence, all the negatives, but I didn't really get, until I went to the seminars, why women continue to go back. And now I understand that, so I've probably got more of a push towards the counselling and the self-esteem and the addressing bad relationships within their lives that cause them conflict. From a legal perspective, that's completely irrelevant, but from a end perspective, it's really important. And I just didn't get that. I just couldn't understand why they'd go back to this evil person time and time again, and it's because they feel like they're worth nothing. That has to be addressed. I probably spend a bit more time and try to build a picture for them of the hereafter, what it could look like. Whereas before, you'll get this protection order, it will keep you safe. That was the end of my explanation. It will follow you around and you are safe. I never did the, if you get a job, if you build up self-esteem, if you have supportive networks, if you know where to ask for help, then your life could look like this. It's totally a foreign concept to lawyers. We just think in terms of processes and achieving end goals in court proceedings. So I wouldn't say I'm always like that, but I'm definitely more sensitive than I was by quite a bit. 20 years in this job, seeing women go back time and time again, you get a little bit depressed about it and you probably lose a bit of enthusiasm for it. So I've renewed my commitment to helping women. We need to continue to mobilise people into different communities where there's more need and more risk. And if I can do that with a more public profile that I have, fantastic. Most people in Te Puke, I've been practising here for 15 years. They know I'm a lawyer, and so they know that I can be someone that's approached, but now more so in my role as I'm the junior coordinator for squash, I'm a netball coach, I'm involved in school liaison. More likely to be approached in that environment, I think, than previously when I just walk in, walk out in a suit. People know that I am a champion because they've seen my poster at the school, so I've made sure that the schools my children are at have posters. With that connection, it's easier to identify me as a person who knows, and I'm not identified as a lawyer, I'm identified in a schooling environment. And I think the teachers also now can identify me, so if they have a disclosure, which has happened quite a few times, they will phone me and get some information about where they can send people for help. My husband's been incredibly supportive. He wears his shirt around town, and he's a partner in a local law firm. So that's quite a statement for him to do, because quite often it's hard for men to wear a violent shirt, because the perception is for a lot of them that they are violent, or they have been violent, or they're getting over something that has involved them in a negative way. So he's, a partner in the biggest law firm in Te Puke, and he wanders around with it. And they've all supported me on the marches, and they'll be coming to the rugby game on the weekend and wearing their shirts. been phenomenal for Te Puke, It's Not Okay. I have seen more explicit and forthcoming disclosures of violence. I have noticed people talking about it more often. I've had an increase in my workload through that exposure. I think we are just making it more accessible for people to admit that they're in it and to admit that they have a problem. I tend to get the more extreme cases, perhaps, but I'm hoping that It's Not Okay being up in the school, the teachers being more aware of it, them approaching me more often about disclosures and places to go. I'm hoping that even the lower level beginning stages of violence will stop it escalating. It's a combination of a huge amount of little things. I think the march was a good starting point because it got a large amount of people mobilised into thinking about it. The continued attendance at these seminars, whenever there's one on, I try to let anyone I know that it's on. It's numbers, it's people in communities talking about it, being open to talk about it, and having posters up or visual signs that there's someone that can be approached.